This episode is brought to you by Camilla Najat with Exit Realty Metro.
Camilla Najat is an experienced real estate agent who prides herself in finding the perfect home for her clients. Camilla can help you with a comparative market analysis to help determine the value of your home if you're planning on selling, or help you determine the going rate for the neighborhood you're moving into. She can also work with you at your pace.
You can reach Camilla by calling 902-880-8429 or email camilla@exitmetro.ca.
Also, you can find her on Facebook at Camilla Najat, Exit Realty Metro. This is Matt Conrad.
And this is Mike Tobin.
Welcome to the Afternoon Pint.
This week we chat with Todd The Beer Dude. Todd is author of the Maritime Beer Report and a true craft beer enthusiast that shares with us some of his favorite beers from Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and beyond. Thank you to Station 6 in Spryfield, Nova Scotia for hosting this episode. Station 6 has an impressive revamped menu and a great selection of craft beers on tap. Enjoy.
There somewhere.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
There you go.
Welcome to the Afternoon Pint.
Thank you very much.
We are here with Todd the Beer Guy.
Beer Dude.
Beer Dude.
Beer Dude. I'll answer anything.
Okay, cool.
You guys bought me a beer, you can call me whatever.
All right. No, we'll be nice today. Yeah. So you're a maritime beer tasting legend, author of
The Maritime Beer Report.
the Maritime Beer Report. Awesome. And thanks for coming.
Oh, you're welcome. Some would say, I'm a legend in my own mind, but minor, or like I say, hella famous.
Hella famous.
famous?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a few
locally
of that,
famous, hella famous. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we can get to that status at some point in time. That'd be kind
yeah.
of cool.
Oh, we're already there.
yeah, exactly. We're already. What are we talking about?
I was signing autographs at No Frills there last Sunday. I didn't tell you.
Nice. No one's come up to me yet, so
Yeah.
it must
okay.
have been that video I did of you with on the ravine thing where like I put the starry hard eyes.
The 1 in 5 seconds I've been on the.
That's what it must be. Yeah. So thanks Todd for coming on. Obviously, like you've had lots of exposure and stuff like that. I listened to you when you were on News 95.7. You come on there, you get welcomed on there, and you get to talk about different beers. And being a fellow beer geek, I was pretty happy to have you come on and happy that you'd give us your time. So I guess let's kind of go through it because I mean, what interests me about what you do is. It's probably because it's something that I've wanted to do for a long time. Yeah. I've many times I've started to start a beer journal and stuff like that and write down the details, IBUs and alcohol percentages and all this stuff. And I get into it and then, sometimes you forget it and then, I don't know, I get in my head that I'm like, well, I missed these 3 breweries and I'm done kind of thing, right? And then I start it all over again and everything. So, going through your Instagram and stuff like that is like it seems what you're doing is you're just logging a lot of the beers that you have. So why don't you talk a little bit about the Maritime Beer Report and your Instagram and what you plan on doing? Yeah.
Well, let's go back way back to the hazy days of, no pun intended, of Nova Scotia and maritime breweries. So in the early 2010s, there was a group of friends that we used to drink beer on live YouTube. You remember YouTube Live back in the day? We used to have a little show on Friday, kind of like a blog or a vlog or whatever. And it was a lot of fun. We just talked about news and beer. We had a beer, of course, Friday night. And back then, I think there was maybe 10 breweries in Nova Scotia.
Yeah,
something
2010,
like that.
probably something like that.
Yeah, it was, pretty small.
Yeah.
Small community of brewers and a small community of beer lovers kind of, hoping for our better days because things kind of had exploded in the United States. And, of course, we lag a little bit here.
Out West it exploded and things like that. Like, I know for me personally, it's like I got into craft beer when the first time I went to Germany, which was in 2005.
Oh, wow,
I turned 20. And that's when I always liked beer, but that's when I discovered beer.
Yeah.
Right? You go to Germany and you're like, wow.
I think we all have
Those
that.
were my Coors Light days. I was not really into any other beers about those then.
We all have that aha moment, or we used to. I think things have changed a lot now, but, when I was younger, of course, it was, I'm from New Brunswick, it was Labatt's Blue. I was a Labatt's Blue guy. That was your thing. That's what you bought on Friday night for the weekend, and that was it, right? And I moved to Nova Scotia, and I kind of we couldn't get Keith's in New Brunswick back then. I think in the 80s, I'm showing my age now, but in the 80s, it kind of distribution came to New Brunswick. So, so I kind of acquired a taste for Keith's, and that was great. Keith's IPA, right? Yeah. So
except not really.
Yeah, not to diss Keith's, but so that was kind of the thing. But I had that aha moment. I guess it was Propeller for me.
Okay.
Propeller Garrison. It was, I think more Propeller because I kind of drank them both.
Yeah.
But then the Revolution Russian Imperial Stout came out, and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Like,
what year was that? Ish.
That would be the early 2000s.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Garrison, like, so Granite started in 85, Garrison was like 97, and Propeller was like 98. They were pretty close together or something along those lines.
There was 6 months between Propeller and Garrison. That's always a fun thing to bring up with Garrison. But Garrison opened their little brewery up on Lady Hammond. They were there briefly for about 2 years, I think. And there's a couple other ones that kind of opened and failed in the meantime. And of course, Paddy's still going strong. I guess they're the oldest craft brewer now in the province. Paddy's pub up in the valley. 90.
Are they the oldest?
80.
They're the oldest craft brewer.
Yeah, I do believe.
I never knew that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're because I mean Granite closed.
Yeah.
And so if they open before 97, then they would actually be the oldest.
Yeah.
I never even thought of actually.
Yeah,
We have to do a show there now.
Yeah.
We were just there. I just featured them because I went blueberry picking, and I went and I was like, you know what? I feel like a blueberry beer, so I just went there and had a blueberry beer.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I bet money on it, and I'm pretty cheap. So, so we did this Friday night hangout on YouTube Live, and the guy that kind of ran it, kind of the brains or the driving force behind it, he had a baby. So, his wife did actually, and they kind of put the show on hiatus. So I needed something to do. So I just kind of started assembling the news because this was the time that, Uncle Leo's was opening and Big Spruce and Boxing Rock. Like it was kind of that explosion. I call them kind of the grandkids.
Right.
Because, for me, the grandpa was Granite. And then Garrison Propeller kind of, held things down. And all of a sudden, all these new kids on the block. So it was interesting. So all kinds of new beers coming out to try because back in the day, it was pretty much you had your IPA, your pale ale, maybe a stout or a porter.
Pretty
and
simplistic.
That was your portfolio. Yeah. And, once in a while, maybe a new beer would come out. It's nothing like today.
Right. No.
Yeah.
You need like a wide variety and.
Yeah. People like to try new things. And so that's kind of that was 10 years ago in August. The Maritime Beer Report kind of sprung to life. So I had a great time doing it. I still do. Talking to the personalities and trying the beer and going to beer shows and all that kind of thing. So
I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but can I ask some of your? I won't ask for one. I'll ask for maybe 3 of your top beers. Not saying the other beers aren't all great.
I was going to go down.
We're going to go down that road.
Yeah, we were going to go down that route, but we can do it now.
Yeah, I'd like to just got to get an idea.
Gee, well, it's.
All right, well, hold on. Actually, you know what? Let's break it down a little bit. What's your favorite beer from each province?
Okay, of the provinces?
Yeah,
okay.
the 3 provinces. The three maritime provinces.
Geez.
Pick one from each that you're like, this is my go-to every time I have to go there.
Wow. The beers are like my children. My favorite keeps switching around.
I'm like that too. Fair enough.
Well, let's.
You see, my favorite beer from Nova Scotia no longer exists.
Oh.
Rogue's Roost IPA.
Oh, yes.
Like, I like, no joke, my wife makes fun of me, but when I went there, when they changed, they sold, and I went there and the IPA wasn't there. Norm, burned the recipe. He would not let anyone have it. He told me, I was like, no one's having that recipe.
Yeah.
That's in this mind, and that's it.
Nice.
And I went there and I tried their English IPA, and no joke, like a little tear came from my eye because I knew I would never have it again. And my wife was like, "Are you crying right now?" It's like, just a tear, just a tear of death, That's my favorite, I think, from Nova Scotia that I ever had.
Jay, that's tough. There's so many good beers. I was just kind of reading, of course, Boxing Rock's having their 10th anniversary. They had all their beers that kind of released. It's like, wow, some great memories.
Yeah.
Triskaidekaphobia was one I really liked. They only made it once.
Yeah.
So, how do you tell somebody this was an awesome beer, but, They never made it again.
It's because of resources like hops and different.
I don't know why. It was a collaboration between Boxing Rock and Big Spruce. I was actually there that day. They brewed it. It was really cool. It was fun and breezy. Yeah, it was a good time. I think it was just one of those things that was they put together and just won't happen again.
Yeah.
So let's see. Back to, I'm a big fan of Trailway in in Fredericton.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, their IPAs are really good. We'll go with their IPA, Hugh John hops.
Okay.
I love meeting them for the first time. They knew I was coming over, and I kind of found their house. They were literally home brewers at the time. They were brewing in their basement, and they were milling grain at the time, and they were wearing Mexican wrestling masks as filters.
No, like luchador masks?
Yes, that was what they were using for their filters. And now you look at them today, they're incredibly impressive brewery. If you ever get a chance to go out,
I've been. Yeah, it's a great spot. Yeah. Good beer. Yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah, and now I'm from Moncton. My new favorite is Tire Shack. So they're doing some really cool
I don't know
things.
If I've had that yet. Okay.
Yeah, very very cool. Oak Creek. And I look at what has happened in Moncton. They've had some exceptional breweries. Tide and Boar.
I love the Tide and Boar.
Oh yeah, he's great, Chad.
One of the only places, like honestly, in Eastern Canada that you can actually get Dogfish Head.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's like seriously, like the only place like I've ever had Dogfish Head.
What's Dogfish Head?
It's a brewery from Delaware. Sam is the owner, and it's honestly like one of my top places that I want to ever visit for a brewery because they do so many things. They do things very authentically.
Yeah.
I remember I watched this one documentary where they make chicha beer, and they did it authentically. So this is really can be kind of messed up with, but if you understand the science of beer, it's not.
Slow
that
down,
bad.
chicha beer.
Chicha beer.
Yeah.
So chicha beer comes from Peru. It's a corn-based beer.
Okay.
And the cool thing about Peru, the fun fact, is that 85% of the brewers are women. And the reason for that being is that women dominantly have an enzyme in their saliva that men don't have, which converts the starch in corn to sugar.
Where are we going with this?
The women chew the corn and spit it out and ferment it because their saliva starts to convert the starch to sugars, and then they ferment it.
And if a man chews the hollow,
so it doesn't quite convert it. Okay. So what Sam did was he discovered this. He went to Peru, learned the traits of this, how to do this. He came back and then had all his female staff chewing corn so he can make this chicha beer authentically. And there's so many stories about that. Like these guys, they also have a beer that I love, the Raison d'Être, which is just like amazing, and it's impossible to get in Canada. But Tide and Boar.
Is it impossible to get because it's gross? Like
no, it's fantastic. Well, the Raison d'Être is really fantastic.
Yeah.
Chicha beer they only did once, but the actual the Tide and Boar, you can get their Miles Davis Stout, you can get their 60, 90, and 120 IPAs. So
some of my favorites,
those are great. And honestly, you can get about 3 to 4 beers there if they're carrying a Tide and Boar. And honestly, the only other place I've ever been able to get Dogfish Head outside of like the U.S. is Toronto. That's it.
So a good place to try in Moncton is the Laundromat.
Okay, I don't know. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's a beer bar.
Please tell me they have actual like laundry stuff in there. That would be amazing.
Well. They have a lot of tourists come in with the bags of laundry. It's like, where's your washers?
That's awesome.
Well, sorry, this is a beer bar.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Great people, too. So a lot of the, I don't know if they still do, a lot of the brewers used to launch their beers there when the breweries kind of opened. So Nova Scotia, well, maybe I'll go with...
PEI might be easier. There's less.
Yeah. So it used to be really easy to cover them all, though Moth Brewery's a little further up. But... I'm really digging. Is it Settler Green? I've had a few of those. Somebody brought them. I haven't been to the brewery itself. Let me think. Upstreet. Okay, one of the Upstreet beers. Well, they've done some fantastic releases. We used to get them here fairly regularly.
You have to go over to what's it called? You have to go over to the Upstreet brewery.
They used to be like in the private stores, not so as much as they were. Like they're really good farmhouse beers and things like that.
I liked their white IPA.
Yeah,
it was tasty.
Yeah.
It was like it had like a not as much of a body IPA, so it was like a great summer IPA.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Nova Scotia is gonna be tough. Wow, there's so many great breweries here. Like when I travel, Nova Scotia has nothing to be ashamed of.
No,
our beers are world class here. Like,
agreed.
So, gee, let me think on that one. I'll try to get one by the end of the.
Listen, it's tough, and if people ask me, like for me, I would probably go for Rogues. But I mean, if current ones, well, we're drinking like the Galaxy IPA. Yeah. I really love that. That being said, though, one that I naturally go to often, if I would probably like 11 times out of 10, if you offered it to me, I'd probably take it. Is North's Multinate Reality.
Yeah.
That's an excellent beer.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, so that's it's in my fridge quite a bit too. Oh. Swear to God, I love that beer.
And you know another one that
those guys make a lot of
another shout out that's a kind of a newer brewery is Breton Brewing Company. They do a lot of good ones, but the one in particular is their Hefeweizen.
Yeah.
As someone who's been to Germany 3 times, I can actually like visually and just mentally put myself back in the first time that I've had the Hefeweizen from Breton Brewing. We were at the Glenora Distillery. My wife and I. My wife lived in Germany for a year, so she's really big into German beers too. We're having lunch. Beautiful day in that beautiful spot in there. Glenora is like my peaceful place. And we were there and we were like, oh, Hefeweizen, Breton Brewing. Don't know Breton Brewing, and I love Hefeweizen, so let's order it. Both my wife took the glass, took it up, like cheers, took a drink, and put it down, and like eyes opened up wide and just looked at each other, and we were just like, this tastes like Germany.
Yeah.
Like it tastes like a Hefeweizen would in Germany. And then you're just looking at the architecture of like where we were with the Glenora Distillery and everything. And it felt like we could have just been in Europe. In that moment, it was like it transported us there. So that has pretty high praise for me too.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's a fantastic beer.
Yeah.
It's a lovely summertime beer.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You can think about Nova Scotia.
I think I'll have to go with unfiltered double orange ale.
That's a great one too. Yeah. Actually.
That's one that when I see it's not offered. It's when they get the hops, so it's not offered all the time, but a lot of the time, and a lot of times you'll find that in my fridge. So although I like to spread it out, but so to speak. But yeah, I'll go with that one. Yeah, that's probably right now. Yeah, 2023.
Unfiltered would probably appreciate you.
Yeah, so that's the champ for 2023 for you.
Okay.
That's cool. Yeah, that's one on 2024. Yeah,
2024, could be something different.
That's awesome. Yeah.
We'll see kind of go there. So okay, so you went from a YouTube channel, or like YouTube, live YouTube, whatever, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to do this on my own now, and you're going to start the Maritime Beer Report.
Yeah.
So what was did you have a goal at all in terms of that, or did you just want to like catalog beers?
Really what I want to do is just share information. At the time, it was kind of difficult to find beers. It was kind of disjointed. Much easier now. Social media, of course, has grown a lot, and it's totally different now. But I did it kind of old school. What I did was I did the Maritime Beer Report. You can still find it, I think, on YouTube. I did it like a YouTube, like a news format kind of a thing. So I went through, Breton's doing this and Big Spruce, and this beer fest is coming up, and anything of note, I kind of went through. So then I used I can't remember the name of the software. It grabbed the audio off the YouTube, and I posted it as a podcast. So that was 10 years ago I was doing that, and then Sheldon McLeod got his show on News 97. So he said, "Hey, I'm just starting this new, afternoon show, and I love beer. Would you like to come on?" It's like, sure.
Yeah.
So that was a fantastic. I had a lot of fun doing that. Sheldon's a great guy.
Yeah.
And so it kind of that was my my excuse to get out of work on time, which I never do. I was telling you, coming here, it's like, well, maybe I'll leave work on time for once. Drives my wife crazy, but anyway.
So what do you do full time to like support your beer habit?
I'm a. What can I say? Well, it's a secret. I can't know. I'm a facilities manager for government computer centers in Nova Scotia. So So I look after all the federal kind of computing things. So
you need beer, basically.
yeah, some days. Yeah. It's
That would be a lot.
Yeah, that would be a lot.
Especially with the weather we've had this year. And the weather
and,
events must have been a tough year, eh?
yeah, not so bad. When COVID kind of, we can kind of talk about it now. I guess when COVID hit, I was an essential worker. I had credentials. I could go anywhere in the country, and I wasn't allowed to be stopped anywhere.
Oh, okay.
And so I had to carry this paper with me all the time. Fortunately, I didn't really have to go too far, but my group looked after. Can I tell you? Yeah, I'm trying to think how much I can tell you legally.
yeah, exactly.
But my group looked after the server. When CERB was coming out and everybody was like, losing their jobs and potentially losing everything and needing this money.
The impact on server would be crazy.
So my group looked after the server, and I think there was like 800,000 hits within the first couple of hours.
Wow.
And fortunately, it never went down. So hats off to those magicians that they kept everything running. And my group, we worked really hard to keep everything going so people could stay home and smoke weed and play Call of Duty. I'm just jealous, that's all.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Fair enough. So obviously that, having to do that and the extra burden of COVID and all that stuff obviously killed the touring of being able to go around and.
Yeah, you look at what people were brewing, through COVID, all the experimentation was gone. I was talking to Brian Titus at Garrison. He said he went from 70% kegs to 30% packaged product. It inverted in the first year.
Very interesting.
Because there was no bars open. There was no restaurants.
Yeah, okay, so
no kegs. But everybody was doing, skip the dishes and everything like that. And everybody was doing curbside.
We had beer deliveries.
Why didn't I think of keg deliveries?
Yeah.
That's what I should have done. Yeah.
So the breweries are really good at pivoting. I think any brewer that you talk to in our province, at least, is adaptable because that's what you have to be.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think COVID killed any of them.
Not exactly, no.
It seems now though it's getting a little tough.
I mean, there's some toughness that's coming now, but we're kind of post COVID, and I think there's some other elements that are involved there.
Yeah, the society in general, Canada in general, there's problems right now.
It's more of an economic thing. Maybe that's COVID related or whatever, right? But
I was trying to get back into my groove. So I went to Stillwell on Kemp Road there. The beautiful new brewery, just fantastic beers. But they're having trouble getting people back in. I think,
right.
And I've heard this from a lot of brewers. It's just people aren't coming back like they were. I don't know if it's a lack of money.
Probably.
They got used to, okay, well, everybody's going to come to my house tonight. We'll get a couple of, six packs or whatever. We'll play some games instead of going out to the bar.
Think of being a young guy, though, and you're not talking about in old times, but even in our generation, so I'm 40, we could go down and you could have a pretty wild night for $40.
Yeah.
When I was 19, 20 years old, we used to have dollar drinks.
Right.
Thanks, Halifax Council for getting rid of that.
Yeah. So,
there was some
now
wild
though
cards.
it's $9 a pint. Right, so if you were really going to tie it on with a few of your buddies and have a really good night, or hit the reset button, I call it, every once so and so often, it's a very expensive evening now.
Yeah,
right.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have a pretty high tolerance for even some high alcoholic beers, and if I want to go out and have a good time, we're talking.
You're running the bill.
We're talking. If I just drank beer alone, it's probably going to be put up $100.
Yeah.
If I want to have a good time, where
just
I'm
to get out for a night, sometimes it's just that's taxing on people, right?
Yeah.
Well, I remember when I started going out when I was 19 here. Draft was 85 cents.
Nice.
Excellent.
Yeah, and we called $1 a beer unit. So you gave the waiter or waitress a buck, and that was your beer.
There you go. Yeah.
But nobody asked for a beer. You didn't go in and say, "Could I have Garrison or Moosehead or whatever?"
No,
it was there was one tap, and they turned it on when they went on shift, and they just kept filling glasses all day.
Yeah,
and they turned it off at the end of the night. It was totally different. They brought a tray of draft over, plunked it on the table. How many?
Yeah.
Right.
And he's like, I got this. It's like a $5 bill.
I noticed, though, that, and this is not really a bad thing, younger people aren't drinking as much.
No.
I went to Maxwell
That's true.
Plums to
That's
see
true.
my buddy play. He plays saxophone. I was just going out to see him do a show. And there was a lot of young people in their 20s having a coffee at 10 o'clock. That's such a foreign concept to me, but like, especially in my 20s, right? But they were out on their dates and being very civil, right? And it was 10 o'clock at night, and Maxwell's Plum. I mean, we used to go to Maxwell's Plum after we had too many beers when we were younger.
Yeah, and throw the
you
peanuts on the floor.
Yeah, get enough grease into us so we could keep going. So it's changed quite a bit.
It's different for sure. You know,
So, I mean, it's true. So I mean, that's some of the struggles. I think is like economic changes. I mean, we were talking with Glenn, and he was talking about what the cost of barley and like stuff like grain costs now, and it's from just 4 years ago, it's doubled, if not more than doubled for just Canadian two-row.
Yeah.
So
well, look at how many breweries there are now. Supply and demand, and then there's a lot of new taxes on fuel and everything. So all that gets passed down to the brewer, who has to pass it on to us theoretically, right? But what's the limit of a guy going to buy a bottle of beer?
Yeah.
So it's got to be tough. Like margins have got to be just getting down to like nothing.
Right. Oh, it's true. Yeah. And beer used to be the cheap thing to make. Like it really used to be the cheapest thing because grain used to cost nothing. Hops were the most expensive thing. Mm-hmm. So you used to be able to get away with making like, we talked about this before, like with like, Doug Ford's like $1 a beer thing could have been a thing, but now it's just impossible. Right.
Yeah.
The good news though, like the quality of beer now, I think is at a very high standard. If you're looking for it, you just want to have the odd beer. That's where I'm at in life now, right? It's, I feel very fortunate, right? I'm always can find something new I like and just have one and be quite satisfied and carry on, right?
There's some breweries here, like overall, like you said, like there's some really great breweries here. Like we have a lot of breweries for a small province, and a lot of them make some really great beers. Some of them make some not so great beers, but that's okay. But there's like on top of just in general, like there's some great beers, but there's some breweries that are like just top notch in terms of the quality of the beers that they're making. They, like I'm a little bit biased, but I mean, I think North is up there as one of our top.
Yeah, definitely.
Like in terms of the quality of beers and what they're putting out for Father's Day. My wife was like, "What do you want to do for Father's Day?" And I was like, "I don't know. I just want to spend time with you guys, right?" Yeah. And we went to North. In the end, I was like, we went to the car museum, and I want to go to North over in Cole Harbour. And they're super welcoming. Like there was a bunch of families there. My 2-year-old was running around. Like he likes going to breweries, oddly enough. Yeah. But like we did some tasters, had some food, and just like I just ordered. Luckily my wife is driving, so I was like, I want one of everything. Just keep them coming, kind of thing, right? So like I just had like a flight of everything, basically.
Sweet. That's a great Father's Day.
Oh, fantastic, right? And I went through and I was like, you know what? There's not a beer on their roster I don't like.
No.
That's hard to say for the amount of beers they make.
Their Alloy, which is a fairly new style of beer. Their Alloy, the Champagne IPA. Great. I loved that when that came out. Like, fantastic. But, North has had some fantastic beers, still do. Great food. Like I say, very welcoming people. Very, very good people.
Big time.
I miss kind of what their experimentations, like they used to do a lot. Hopefully they'll get back to that, especially the Benjamin Bridge. They'd had that.
The wine beers?
The wine beers.
Awesome.
And they had the, what's it called? The open vat out in the field.
Yep.
Cool ship. Yeah, so they had a cool ship. They took it out to the vineyard and they had a campfire and they just let the yeast kind of float around and go into it and made the beer.
Almost like the lambic kind of thing.
Yes.
Like that kind of style. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I hope they get back to that. I know it's kind of expensive with the barrels and everything. But their beers, like what they made with Benjamin Bridge. Like I think I maybe have just drank my last one from the cellar. So I've been trying to draw down my cellar. It was getting a little overwhelming.
So we want to visit you next. That sounds very interesting. And you know what? Oddly enough, Benjamin Bridge is actually my favorite vineyard in the whole province too. Like they make like world class wines.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. Like I always like when they combo the two together. So you're Todd the Beer Dude, Maritime Beer Report, but you recently did a UK trip And do you design all of your trips abroad based around beer? Is that how it works?
Not exactly, no. But I like to visit local. A few years ago, about I think around 2016ish, I did a California trip, and it was fantastic. It was called California Gold. It was a bus beer tour. Awesome. So a bunch of beer nerds. We started out in San Diego, and we just visited kind of top breweries that you would expect in California, and we ended in San Francisco.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was.
So you just traveled up the coast there?
Yeah, just there was other stuff too, but I visited probably about 40 breweries, which is just a drop in the bucket in California.
Absolutely.
But we went to Stone, and I'm trying to think what else. Drawing a blank right now. Anyway,
but there's tons out there. You know what? This sounds like another reason why we should get some advertising space on here, so we can sponsor to take us afternoon pint on the
Germany 2024.
Hey, there you go. Germany.
I want to do that. Yeah.
I'll do Germany, California. Actually, you know what? My wife and I we just recently went to Maine. I did a little bit of a beer run in Maine, which there's some great breweries there. We were almost. It's funny because we were almost going to Portland, Oregon, not Portland, Maine. So we were bouncing back and forth from Portland to Portland, but because I've always wanted to go to Oregon. If you're a beer fan, I think you have to at some point go to Oregon. It's like the North American hop capital, and there's tons of great breweries there. And I'm a big fan of Rogue.
Yes, me too.
Love them.
Yes. Right?
And we used to be able to get them all the time here, and you can't get them anymore. It just drives me nuts.
No, I've noticed that a lot of them are in smaller distributions now.
Yeah.
But, I always try to visit the Rogue outposts. They have outposts throughout. There's one in San Francisco and Seattle. So if I see an outpost, I drop in.
Yeah.
I've been very fortunate. I've gone to Europe 4 times now.
Same,
And so I kind of did the Mediterranean. So
okay.
Portugal, the craft beer scene in Portugal is fantastic. The beers are just unreal.
Because they're known for wine, obviously.
Yeah, but I was in Lisbon, and I said to my wife, craft beer. She says, did you plan this? Well, of course not, dear. but we found this fantastic beer, almost like a still well. Okay. It was just, listening to heavy metal music and...
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was great. I got to try a bunch of craft beer from there. I was up in the Baltic a few years ago.
Oh, wow.
Of course, I went to McKellar, and almost missed my plane because I'm kind of a traveling newbie. So when I went to the Copenhagen airport, I went through security. Okay, we're done. So, they have a beer bar in the airport. So McKellar. So I said, when do you close? Oh, we're open 24 hours a day, sir. It's like...
See, Europeans know how to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm drinking beer. It's like, well, we should head down to the plane now. Not realizing we had to go through passport control, which was way, way worse than security. So anyways, I had a very unhappy wife at the time, but I was drunk, so I didn't care.
Funny how that works.
But yeah, just recently I just got back from the UK, and they have a fantastic beer culture there. It's kind of like it used to be here, I think. I found a beer place not too far from the hotel, and so kind of after we did our touring around for the day in London, we went and sat and had some beers, and it was just packed, flowing out the door into the street. Every pub was like that. Everybody seems to leave work, stop in for a pint or two on the way home, kind of unwind. I think we used to do that here.
I mean, I don't know I used to, but I would say the closest I ever got to that was in 2008 when I worked downtown on Spring Garden Road. And I think 4 days a week I would go over to Rogue's Roost.
Yeah.
And have a pint or maybe even a bite and go home. But I was younger at that time.
Yeah.
You get nothing, no holding you back kind of thing. But the culture in the UK is very much like that.
Yeah.
Right? It's like walk home, get a pint, talk to your buddies, set your social time, head home to your family kind of thing, right? So I saw that on your Instagram. I immediately got very thirsty when I saw the picture that you posted of Shilling.
Yes.
Like the different colors of the beer lined up on the flight and everything, and that looked awesome. So I don't know what that red one was, but that looked fantastic.
I'd have to look it up. Yeah, I think it was red. They didn't have a lot of their own beers, so I think there was only 3. So I had to mix it up a bit. I think actually that might have been a sour.
It looked like it could have been. It was very bright red.
Yeah. In an old bank, it was very, like, the breweries are so cool. You go downstairs to the washroom and it's a big vault for the washrooms. I hope they don't lock you in.
There's a brewery in Quebec, in Amqui, and it's called Le Captive, and it's an old jail.
Oh wow!
And like the things are in the jail, like you can see the the cells, the bars, and all that stuff in the breweries behind there. That's pretty cool too.
There's something about going to breweries in foreign countries, just traveling around. You get to learn the culture. When I was in Ireland, the beers are kind of like some of them here. They had a story, and if you took time to read the bottle, it told you an entire story about, a pirate, and he was handsome, and he was married 6 times, and rumor is 5 of his wives murdered him. But just the stories and things kind of come to life, and they kind of, like here, they kind of take old buildings that are kind of in disuse and reuse them and bring them back to life.
Yeah, like church or something, like church brewing. Like I love that idea. Like if churches are getting close, like some churches are absolutely beautiful. Like let's make them into breweries.
Yeah, there's so much beautiful architecture, right? And just things and places for people to go. Like I find that's the biggest thing about Nova Scotia breweries is it's become a new gathering place.
Community places. Gathering places.
Yeah, we don't have the community centers and things we used to, but we have breweries. And so you need a group that needs to have a meeting, a non-for-profit.
Record a podcast.
Yeah, record a podcast.
Right.
Drop your kids off and go shop. No. Don't do that, folks.
But actually, just while we're recording, special shout out. So we're here at Station 6. Special shout out. We got a curveball thrown at us, and we weren't sure where we were going to record. I reached out, and they were very accommodating. So shout out to Station 6.
Within 15 minutes.
Within 15 minutes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The menu here is amazing too.
Highly recommend the Firehouse Chicken Burger. Like
there you go.
Yeah.
It is straight fire.
Yeah. So lots of craft beer served as well.
Exactly.
Yes.
So back to the UK just for one quick thing. You also went to Brewdog.
Yes.
And Brewdog, they make some pretty interesting beers. I would have been great to have like a lineup. I've only had 2 beers from them. One of them being Sink the Bismarck. Have you had that?
No, I don't think I've had that one.
Unique. I got it for Christmas one year. For one little bottle, it was $135.
Whoa.
It was 41% alcohol.
Wow.
And it was an IPA. And so the cool thing about it is they actually just keep freezing it. They don't distill it like whiskey would be, right? So they keep freezing it, so it still tastes like an IPA. But like it's like an IPA punched you in the mouth. Because it's 41% and like the hop content, like I know they say IBUs you can only taste 120, but if you could taste 1,000, that would be the one.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
But it, it was. So I don't know, like how that would have been. To me, that would have been a really great kind of brewery to really test out. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to go to some of their big ones. They're more just kind of like a little side. Now, I did watch a guy last night. I forget what it was. Was it TikTok? Anyways, he drank their 60% beer.
Oh, geez, I didn't even know they went to there.
Yeah,
60% beer.
Yeah.
I had the 41. I didn't even know there was a 60.
It's in a little bottle. Like it looks like maybe like a 30 or 50 ml bottle.
Right.
He got it off their website in the U.S. So, like that's kind of on my list now.
Yeah.
So
that was the Boston Brewing's.
the Utopia?
Utopia, thank you. That was on my list, and I checked that off in Toronto.
Nice.
It was everything I expected it to be.
Yeah. We were talking about Tide and Boar. I don't know if he's got them recently, but I think they come out every 2 years. He used to buy a couple.
Oh.
And it's just like, hey, I'm going to open a bottle today, so people would rush down.
Oh, no way.
And
because this thing was $40 for an ounce and a half.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's what I paid to try this thing.
Yeah, well, the bottle is over 200.
Yeah.
So he pours out, like, I think he limits to 11 people, whatever they can out of that. So he pours 11 drinks, and he just puts all your names on a little hat. And
no way.
So you drink your beer, and while you're doing it, he draws, okay, so you win the bottle. So one of them leaves with the bottle, and everybody gets to try the beer.
Okay, so in case you may not know this, but so the Utopia is a beer that I believe they started it back in 1998. And so what's really cool is they use the same yeast. They harvest it after they're done making the beer. And like, so as we talked before, we're like
the sourdough bread of beer.
Basically, yes.
Okay.
So the yeast can only handle so much alcohol, but if you condition it, you can let it growing and growing and growing. And so this got to a point where like pretty much consistently, without any help at all, just naturally natural fermentation, it can hit about 18%, but they've gotten it up into like 25%.
Jeez.
Yeah.
But the yeast can just handle it now.
We should do that for the movie review show we want to do. Remember when we do best movies of the year? We should get some real fun alcohol beers.
We can do that. That'd be great.
Make it real wild that night.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Todd, you can come along. This sounds like something you'd like to do.
You like
I'd
movies?
love to.
If you like movies, we're just going to get drunk and talk about movies.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, that was. We're going to pick our best movies of 2023.
Yeah.
But not like Grammy style. Like we
No,
want to
yeah.
do like what you've actually just watched. Or
Yeah,
enjoyed.
exactly.
So if
Yeah.
you're a Transformers fan, it doesn't matter. The new one's not great, in my opinion. But
So I know we got to wrap this up, but I think I want to leave it just because you are our a bit of a local expert on this thing. What do you see? Just with your constant contact with the breweries and stuff, what do you think the next beer trend is? Because I know we went through IPAs, we went through sours, we went through just crazy hop stuff and everything, and then we've had some other things that have come and gone. The Goze's popped its head in a little bit there. But do you see a beer trend that's coming to Nova Scotia that we haven't quite hit yet, or maybe something that's a resurgence or anything at all?
Well, definitely the alcohol-free beers.
Huge.
Yes,
yeah,
that's
huge.
true.
Yeah, huge.
Who was it? Just released some Tatamagouche.
They put one out.
They just put their own. Like they switch brands, right? So it's its own brand, kind of like Libra for.
We have them in our house all the time.
Yeah.
It's good. Even like Corona has a nice alcohol-free beer.
My friend's a bartender, not really, but he's at his social club. He attends bar, and it's very, very popular because, you got to drive and things, right?
Yeah,
you always have to be cognizant and of how you're going to get home and all this kind of thing, right? So, so you're the designated driver. Well, I can still enjoy a good flavored beer, even though it's 0.5 or 0 or whatever.
What do you think of the Libras that are out now? Do you like those? Have you tried them?
I've tried a couple, and they're very good. Some of them, some of the alcohol-free beers that came out are terrible.
Yes. For a long time, they had a bad
Just
stigma.
Terrible.
But there's some ones that have come out recently where I'll drink them, and I was like, I'll buy a 6-pack of this and bring it to a party and never be the wiser.
Yeah, let the wife go crazy.
Exactly.
Do the lampshade on her head or whatever they do these days. Yeah, so definitely alcohol-free beer. I don't know what's going to really come. It's like you say, we've done a lot. I haven't really seen a lot in the U.S. lately. Usually you kind of see things coming like the sours or the we talked about the Champagne IPA. But I haven't seen a whole lot. I think maybe it's just people are just trying to, pay the bills and pay their staff
Fair
right
enough.
now.
That's true.
Because we've seen a few.
Don't want to take a risk.
Up. Yeah, a few close up. So I think once we get beyond this kind of COVID hangover we're in right now, I think maybe things will.
I really hope we see craft beers stay. I think they're a community, and I think they're just a lot of passion, a lot of fun. They bring people together in every community. So every community has something to show you when you go there, which is so cool.
Yeah,
and that's what I do love about the beer. I'm one of those. I don't really care about the beer that much. I mean, not to sound ignorant, but I more care about the experience or going somewhere and just enjoying the time and hopefully having a nice beverage on the way.
Right. Experiential. Well, I'll just do a quick story. I'm heavily involved in trails. I've been for a long time. I was, involved with Nova Scotia Trails for a long time on the board of directors, and I ran the Halifax Northwest Trails.
Oh, wow.
So I love trails. I love the outdoors. A lot of stuff. I have a lot of passions, but that's one of my passions. But I went to a seminar, and Nova Scotia Parks was there. Nova Scotia Tourism, and the lady got up and she started showing these fantastic slides of, Cusco in Peru and, trails in Spain. And she says, what's all these, people said, where I want to go. He said, this is our competition.
Right.
The old days of people going to resorts and being isolated are gone. People want to go, they want to drink the beer, eat the food, walk the trails. They want to see what local is. They don't want to be, they don't want to be, a New Yorker in Nova Scotia being a New Yorker. They want to see what it is to be Nova Scotian.
Right.
So I think that's with a lot of the craft beer is...
You know what? I think we need some government assistance there and basically like screw off and let us go and have a beer in like let me go and have a beer somewhere.
Yeah.
In public. Like I can understand that like, you want to crack down on public drunkenness.
Yeah.
But if I want to go fishing or if I want to go for a hike and I want to bring a 4-pack maybe and my wife and I have 2 beer each when we crush this mountain or something.
Yeah.
Let me have a beer and
that's not legal now?
It's not legal to drink in public.
Jeez.
I know.
Never stopped me.
It's also never stopped me either.
There's always a couple hiding in the cooler bag when you go to the beach.
One thing when we travel, you really notice that, don't you? Like I always ask when I go, and it's like, well, why wouldn't you be able to drink a beer walking down the street?
Exactly.
That's crazy. It's like, well, I'm from Canada. Oh, say no more.
Exactly. We're so archaic with our rules.
Yeah.
Again, public drunkenness is not what we want, and that's not what I want.
No, nobody.
I just want to have a 4-pack and walk down and be able to just not have to worry about it. Right?
Maybe go to Peggy's Cove and spread out a blanket, have a little charcuterie. You have a beer, your wife have a wine.
Exactly. Sure. I'm an adult. I don't want to bring apple juice.
Who is that hurting?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. Yeah, we really, really need to revamp the rules in Nova Scotia. I've been saying that for a long time. I wrote an article a few years ago saying, New Brunswick is not perfect, but they do a lot of things kind of different than we do.
Yeah.
So I think maybe go across Canada, get some best practices, and just start chopping away.
Yeah. So the last question I had before we let you go. You're gathering all this information, you're gathering all these beers and this collection of data. Do you have a goal of maybe publishing it someday and having a book?
Definitely, I'd love to. Yeah,
you should.
Yeah.
Like a coffee table book or something. You sit down, you can look at it where you have your beer, see if it's in there. And
maybe a coffee table book that turns into a coffee table and you put your beer on it. I think maybe somebody did that.
I think someone's done that. But
Seinfeld.
I'd love to do something like that.
Yeah.
I wish I had have got, I know when I was at Granite a few years ago, I was in talking to them, and he had like one of the original green bottles of, I'm trying to think of the name of the brewery in New Brunswick. He really got hosed by the New Brunswick government after just praising them. He was making beer in Dieppe, and he was a German, and he just couldn't take the regulations. Every day was something new. It's like, well, you need a bottle washer. Well, I don't take bottles back. Why do I need? Well, you got to do it.
Yeah.
And I can't think of his name. It was really cool in Moncton. It was kind of like very early in the craft beer days. They had like little kegs you could buy, with about 3 or 4 beers in it, I think. And you could, tap it and then you bring it back.
Oh, that'd be fun, yeah.
But yeah, he had some of the original. I like to collect kind of like the history because we had the original New Scotland brewery that went bankrupt.
Yep.
We had the one up in Cape Breton. I can't think it was very early. I can't think of the name right off. I'm getting the older moments here. But I'd kind of like to amalgamate some of the older things that have kind of just gone by the wayside.
And I got one little top up to this side. Like, have you ever thought of like a beer app where people rate the beers and share their experiences here in the Maritimes for people when they're touring around?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of if it was feasible. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sounds like we could have some potential collaboration with Afternoon Pint and Todd the Beer Dude.
Yeah, I personally use Untapped. I kind of keep my little notes.
I heard about that. Yeah, it's popular. Yeah.
And sometimes in your drunken stupor, it's like, oh, this is a great beer. I got to record this. It's like, oh, I had this 3 years ago. Oops, okay.
Yeah.
I guess that was a good night.
Every beer is great after 3.
Well, on that, I think we should, we'll thank you and cheers one last time. And
thanks for having me.
No, thank you. We really appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Afternoon Pint. If you have an idea for the show or would like to be a part of it, email us at afternoonpint@gmail.com.